Hello, hello. Good evening, good evening. Hello, hello. Blessings, blessings. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Hello. God bless you. Thank you for coming on. Woohoo. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming on this beautiful Monday. We are still in resurrection season. So happy resurrection to you guys. Blessings, blessings. Hey. Listen, you guys, let me know where you're joining in from. Facebook have changed some things, so we have to interact a little bit differently. Let me know where you're joining from. Hello, hello. Let me know where you're joining from. Today I am talking about time does not heal wounds. Time does not heal wounds, right? So blessings to each and every one of you. Please come on in. We've heard this saying before. Blessings. Thank you for joining. We have heard this saying before countless times. As a matter of fact, I have heard this saying before countless times. The time heals all wounds, right? Time heals all wounds. If you're anything like me, I have seen that. Hey, Kel, thank you for joining. I have seen that. And especially when I came into the knowledge of the ministry of healing and deliverance, I've noticed that, you have people are adults. They are adults and they're still having issues or things that they have gone through in their childhood or at the time of their childhood. Whatever trauma, whatever abuse, whatever neglect, whatever rejection that they went through as a child, it still affects them in their adult life. So if the saying time heals all wounds is correct, that means the trauma what they experienced as a child should not affect them as an adult. Do you agree with me? A lot of times we hear these sayings and they sound so good. They sound real good, like, we sitting here just waiting for time to pass for us to just feel better. And then you go 2 years, nothing, 3 years, nothing, 4 years, nothing. People have 20-something years and they are still hanging on to stuff that happened to them 20 years earlier. So let me put to rest this whole quote, time heals all wounds. Time heals nothing in my experience, right? So when I went through the trauma of my marriage, and that's what it is, it's trauma, it's traumatizing. Any wife, if you would agree with me, like it was the worst era of my life. And so it was traumatic. And even though that I've been praying, I believe in God for the change of my marriage, restore my marriage, change my husband, all that stuff, God was doing that. God did that. However, I still was feeling pain of something that happened 7 years earlier, 6 years earlier, 10 years earlier. I was still having pain of the experience that I had before. And so I asked the Lord, like, why do I still feel this way? Why I could go from 10 to 0 at any given day, at any particular time. Circumstances don't even have to contribute to it. Like I would just be feeling all the way good, and then I would now feel all the way bad, down, as if this thing just happened to me yesterday. And so I had a dream some time ago, and I'd shared this before. I had a dream some time ago, and the dream was I had a clean house. My house was clean. As a matter of fact, I had just finished cleaning my house. It was spick and span. And in the dream, my husband came in and he brought 2 dogs in the house. And when he brought the 2 dogs in the house, now this is a dream now that I had some long time ago. When he brought the dogs in my house, he brought the dogs and he left them. When he left, he didn't leave. He didn't carry the dogs. And so in the dream, the dogs, they had a lot of fleas on it. They were nasty, they were dirty, and they were in my clean house. And so I felt as if that it was not fair that my husband brought these dogs in my house. Now I had to clean them. And so when I woke from the dream, it was very, at the time I really didn't have understanding of dreams and visions. Okay, so I was like absolutely knowing nothing. But I asked Lord, I said, Lord, what does that mean? And so the Lord told me that although my husband brought the dogs in my house, it's up to me to clean the house. Now, the house in the Bible can be your heart, or it can represent your soul. And so I was like, wow, this was such a profound moment for me, because the Lord was just introducing me to the ministry of healing and deliverance. And so although the trauma that I experienced wasn't something that I did, it happened to me, the pain that I experienced, the rejection, I didn't cause it on myself. It happened to me, but it was still up to me to fix it. It was still up to me to ensure that I get deliverance that I needed. It was up to me to ensure that I get the healing that I needed. So here the Bible says in Philippians 2:12, it says that we have to work out our own salvation. My God, we got to work out our own salvation. And salvation in this passage is translated as deliverance. We got to work out our own deliverance. And many people can testify, do not come this way. Many people can testify, and a lot of people came to Christ because of the issues that they were having in their marriage. So you can testify that although you get saved, that it don't take away the pain. So even you would say that, oh, the blood of Jesus heals us, it delivers us. Let me tell you something. It makes healing and deliverance available to us. It's just not going to happen. You're just not going to wake up one day and the hurt that you feel in your heart, the hurt that you're feeling is just not going to go away. The trauma that you have experienced in your life, the trauma that you experienced as a child is not just going to go away. You have to be intentional about your healing. You got to be intentional about your deliverance. Just how when you have needs in your life, right? If as a woman, if there is something that you need, whether for me, I'm just getting into a facial routine, right? And my face started to break out, and so this concerned me. So now I'm seeking help on what facial products I need to use in order to give myself a skin routine so my face don't break out. And so I had to seek it out. I had to look for it. I had to research products. I had to invest in the products in order for me to fix my face. And so it's the same thing. It's the same thing with your healing and your deliverance. And so I am coming on here to you today. Now listen here, you guys, please let your people know that I'm on. If you have a sister out there, let her know. Listen here, slide this in her inbox, slide this video on her page. Let someone else get this information. I am doing a webinar next month, May 4th, and it's called Healing and Deliverance for the Broken Wife. Now, I know for a lot of people and myself, my process of deliverance, it wasn't an overnight process. It happened over a period of time. And when I began to go through my deliverance process, let me tell you something. A lot of things that I faced that I thought that I was delivered from. There are a lot of things that I was delivered from recent that I thought was not an issue or a problem for me. And so now here it is. I wrote a book. I'm on Facebook ministering to wives. I'm helping wives, right? And then there was a period in time I was fasting, and I realized that the enemy really, really began to bring back some things to my memory. And I'm like, how are these things still bothering me? Like how? And so I thought that I was healed. I thought that I was delivered, but there was still work to do. And so I thank God for coming into the knowledge and understanding of this. And I want to share this. I want to share this with wives. I want to share this with my networks. There are people out there, there are women of God out there who, listen here, you are still being affected by the trauma you have experienced. And so this webinar, Healing and Deliverance for the Broken Wife, it is for any wife who have experienced trauma on some level. It don't have to be in your marriage. It could be something that you have experienced in your childhood. It could be something that you experience in your adolescent years. It could be some trauma that you have experienced over the time of your life. And so this webinar is for you. This is for you. It's about time that we take an account. We have to take an inventory of our soul to make sure that our soul is in check. See, our soul is like glass, right? If you take glass and you hit it real hard, it will shatter, right? And so you have all these pieces. And what the enemy does is now, this is what the enemy would do. He would snatch a piece of the glass, right? He would snatch a little piece of it, and he don't even need a big piece of it. And he will hold onto it, and he would keep it for a certain time when it will afflict you. And so this is what happened in my life. And so I realized that I had a fragmented soul. That I had a fragmented soul. And so in order to be totally healed and delivered, I had to recapture that fragment of the soul that the enemy captured. I had to go and I had to get that little piece that he was holding against me after all these years. And so this webinar, Healing and Deliverance for the Broken Wife, is going to help you to get through the trauma that you have experienced in childhood. Whether it was at a young age, a teenager, your early adulthood, whatever it is or it was. It will help you as a wife, even if you have experienced trauma in your marriage. If you have experienced trauma as a result of your husband, this is going to help you. So it doesn't matter what level you have experienced the trauma on. This is for wives. This is healing and deliverance for the broken wife. And I know some people might be saying, you know what, I have been through this. I've been through trauma at a particular time in my life, but I good now. Let me tell you something. If you have not experienced deliverance, if the spirits have not been cast out, let me tell you from my experience, they are still there. There are certain spirits, they ain't coming out. They do not come out because you get saved. They do not come out because you decide to serve the Lord. That don't mean that they come out. In order for them to come out, they have to be cast out. And if you've never had an experience of spirits being cast out of your soul, let me tell you, go and sign up for the webinar. This is for you. Glory be to God. And so I want to encourage you wives out there that, it's time to be made whole, right? It's not just time for healing, but it's time to be made whole. And wholeness comes through inner healing and deliverance. And I thank God for the opportunity that I'm in the position now, that I've experienced my healing and deliverance, that I'm now able to help others. Because there were a lot of things that people did not tell me. People did not tell me, Meltoria, you're still feeling torment in your head because of what happened to you. People did not tell me, Meltoria, because because you are saved, speaking in tongues, moving in the power of God, that don't mean you need deliverance. There are still levels of deliverance that is necessary for you. Now, I had this situation that I encountered that was totally, it really had me confused. I was fighting alongside this wife, for her husband to return home, excited for her. I'm excited. She's excited. She's been praying. She's been fasting. She's been sowing for years. And now her husband finally returned home. Now that he's returned home, she was so bitter because of what she went through. She didn't know how to receive and love her husband. Like, something, I done so hurt. I don't know if I could love him like that again. And I was so confused. I was confused. Like, all the hell you done gone through for him to come home. Now he's home. What? But it was because of the trauma that she'd experienced at the hands of her husband, that now you already, you wanted your husband to come home. You wanted the Lord to restore your marriage and restore your home. Now he's home. You thinking, listen, this ain't all that I thought out to be. But her issue wasn't that she didn't want it. Her issue was there was still bitterness, there was still resentment. That feeling of rejection was never dealt with. And so the Lord really opened my eyes that not only we have to fight for the marriage, right? Not only we have to war for the marriage and we have to war for the family, but at the end of the war, we need healing and we need deliverance. And so listen here, you guys, for those of you who are out there, wives, this is for you. Go on my webpage. I'm going to put the link in the description bar in the video. Sign up for the webinar. I believe this is going to be it's going to be an eye-opener for one. And it's going to be a life changer for two. Because you're going to be a totally different wife for your husband and for your children. A lot of people, ask me, Notoria, how could you be so happy after all that you went through? Listen, it's the process of healing and deliverance. Not only will you come in a better place physically, emotionally, and mentally, but spiritually, it's an elevation process. You're going to go higher in God. You're going to be able to go higher in the things of God. Some of you are being held back by the enemy and you don't even know. Some of you are stagnant in the things of God because there is some deliverance that needs to take place and you have absolutely no idea that you are in need of deliverance. I had no idea that I was in need of deliverance. But as I kept having the pain, the hurt, and these emotional highs and lows, I had to ask God, I need you to show me and I need you to help me. Now listen here, the Lord did not put his hand down from heaven and touch me. He led me in the direction of deliverance. And that is where I found total healing. And so listen here, you guys, I just want to open it up for you. I want to encourage you guys to go out there and register for the webinar. The webinar is May 4th, and it's going to be we're going to cover a lot of topics. We're going to find out the root of your issue. We are going to uncover it. We're going to expose this, and we are going to deal with it. So listen here, you're not just coming out you're not just coming out of the webinar with information, but you're also coming out with transformation. I can tell you that. I can tell you, you're not just coming out with information, but you're also coming out with transformation. So listen here. Be sure to send this video to one or two of your sisters, two of your sister wives, your cousin who married, who went through something, even if they went through in their marriage or their childhood. Your sister friend having some instability, some highs and some lows emotionally. Listen here, send this video to her and let her know you need to sign up for this webinar. It's not going to be just full of information, but you're definitely going to experience transformation as well. So listen here, you guys, thank you for coming on to my quick broadcast. I just wanted to talk about my webinar. I pray that it's been a blessing to you. Be sure to send this put this video on your timeline, put it on your profile, whatever you need to do to let somebody else in on it. Be sure to do so. There is healing and deliverance for the broken wife. Blessings and have an awesome day.